Hi everybody, it's election night and we're continuing our coverage of the results now that the polls have closed at 7 o'clock on the dot. Those polls closed across Alabama's congressional districts 1, 2, 6, and 7, and we're starting to see results roll in. Now I say starting to, it's definitely not that many, but wanted to give you an update on what we're seeing so far. So first we're going to start with U.S. Congressional District 1. So that's this district down here. We've got Mobile, Baldwin, Escambia, and part of Covington counties. So what we're seeing right now, and this is through the Associated Press's reporting, is that we see Jerry Carl has a lead with 81% of the votes, but there's a big but to it. Less than 200 votes are in. So this is estimating that not even 1% of votes are counted. So that's definitely something to keep in mind when we're saying that he has an early lead. Not many votes are cast. Now, something that does jump out is that right now this first little batch of votes are coming from Mobile County. According to the Associated Press, the counties that are going to have the most amount of votes in this district are going to be central in Mobile and Baldwin County. So while we will be, of course, covering Escambia and Covington counties as well, it looks like the bulk of voters for this district will come from these two counties, and with that first batch being down in Mobile County, we may start to see that ramp up soon. Typically what we see with these elections is that we won't have a lot of votes in and then all of a sudden a ton of them come in. So for now, we're going to continue on to District 2. Let me give you a little bit more background on District 1 for now. So District 1 is currently in control by a Republican. It is Representative Barry Moore, but he is now running for U.S. Senate. So he, of course, went on to that primary runoff in June, and then he did advance to the November general election. So he's leaving the seat vacant, but of course this does look a little bit different than it did just 2 years ago. District 1 used to come up a little bit further into part of the Black Belt and then across through the wiregrass. So right now this district does look a little bit different than it did before, but it is definitely one that Jerry Carl is trying to win, and that's because he has already served in Washington 2 terms for U.S. District 1. So that was before the court-drawn map was put into effect. He did face Barry Moore in the Republican Party primary, and he did lose to Barry Moore. Of course, now he's trying to win again in this district. He is also facing that we got Austin Sidwell, John Mills, and Lucas Berger in that race. Now, something to keep in mind, even though we have 4 people in this race, you do not have to reach 50% of the votes. That's because the proclamation by Governor Kay Ivey that called for this election and was put into place after the Supreme Court let us do that, said that there was not going to be a runoff election. That's because we're, of course, less than 3 months away from the November general election. So that's District 1. That's the most up-to-date numbers right now. I have not seen anything refresh. Moving on to District 2. Now this one is definitely going to be interesting because District 2 here also looked very different 2 years ago. It started here across the Black Belt and then it went across through part of the river region, but of course now we see that it's centralized into southeastern Alabama, covering the river region and quite a bit of the wiregrass. So this is currently held by Democratic Representative Shamari Figures. He is running for re-election, but this district does look very different than the one that he won in just 2 years ago. And in that race, we have a very interesting split because we've got 6 Republican candidates who are trying to face off with Shamari Figures. Shamari Figures is unopposed. He's already advanced to the November general election. This race here amongst the Republicans will be about who will be facing Representative Figures. So right now, again, a very small batch of votes that we have in right now. We have Rhett Marcus with 57% of the votes, Hampton Harris with 24 approximately percent of the votes, David Matthews with 11%, James Richardson with about 5%, and Christian Horn with about 2%, and Joshua McKee with about 1.5%. Worth noting, again, very few votes, but similar to District 1, what's interesting about where we're getting these votes is that they're in some areas that would definitely be more populated. So we've got Montgomery County is included in that initial batch of votes. We do have Russell County, which has given a couple votes as well, and Crenshaw County as well. So we're starting to see those results roll in. Notably, we're not seeing the Wiregrass area, which could be good for Rhett Marcus. He does have President Trump's endorsement. He does have Katie Britt's endorsement. So that is something that could help him out over here. This is part of where he represents for the Alabama House of Representatives, which he currently is, that's his current profession right now. Of course, he's trying to upgrade that to responding to Washington rather than Montgomery. So that's what we're seeing right now for District 2. Just to tell you a little bit more about some of the other people in this race. Second place right now, Hampton Harris. He is a business owner. He says he's based in Lounsboro. We know that he's in the Montgomery area tonight. He's a small business owner and a real estate broker. We've got David Matthews, who says he's born in Dothan. He was also a member of the Trump administration's U.S. Department of Agriculture as a political appointee. Also down looking at these notes, not looking off into the sky. We've got Christian Horn, who ran for Secretary of State as recently as May. We've got U.S. Army Green Beret Joshua McKee and Marine veteran James Richardson all in this race. So they're all vying to get this nomination. Notably, the counties that we're going to be looking out for as far as population-wise are going to be Montgomery County. We've also got Houston County down in the furthermost corner of the state. Coffee County will also have quite a bit of votes coming in, and Geneva County. Those are just a few. We're going to cover all of them, of course, but that's just what we're seeing as far as the biggest populations that we're going to be looking out for. So once those votes start to come in, then we'll get a better picture of what this race is going to look like. Now, District 6, okay, just since this live stream started, District 6 did get its first batch of votes. So District 6, we've got here up in the central part of Alabama, we've got Watauga, Coosa, Chilton, Bibb, Shelby, and then parts of Elmore and Jefferson County. So Gary Palmer is currently the representative of District 6. He has served in that role since 2014. He is facing a challenge by Case Dixon. He says he was born in Alabaster in Shelby County up here. He works in home health, physical therapy. He describes himself as a political outsider, so that's definitely a different perspective than the person who is running for another term in office. That's something that will be interesting to see play out. Right now, we've got Gary Palmer. Again, very, very early on. It's not even saying 1% of the votes counted, but it's saying 86% for Gary Palmer and about 14% for Case Dixon. And so right now, that first batch of votes actually came in from Bibb County, which is one of the smaller counties in this district. So it'll be interesting to see if all of those come in. What we'll really see as far as getting the bigger picture on what this race will look like are more populous counties, Shelby County, and of course this sliver of Jefferson that kind of hooks around here. So that's according to the Associated Press. Those are where the most votes are coming in. Right now, like I said, we just have part of Bibb County in right now. It doesn't look like any other counties have come in. So that will be an interesting split. Of course, that one, it would be, somebody would get more than 50% of the votes. That's something unique about this one, as well as in District 7. So in District 7, this is currently Representative Terry Sewell's district. So we have Amy Aiken and David Perry. So as of right now, we've got Aiken with about 63% of the votes and David Perry with about 37% of the votes. So that's about 1% of the votes counted. So this district definitely does look a little bit different than it did 2 years ago, and that's because some of these counties in the southernmost part, those were a part of the District 1, District 2 makeup. So Terry Sewell has held this seat for a long time, since 2011. She is in her 8th term. So notably what we're going to be seeing here as far as where we need to see votes, we would definitely need to see the rest of Jefferson County. So you see Jefferson County is split between 6 and 7. So Jefferson County, of course, we know is one of the most populous counties. So that part of Jefferson, as well as Tuscaloosa County. See that one split between District 5, I believe that this is. We cut it off because that one's not involved in this. So you had some of Tuscaloosa County voters participating in this special primary and some that were not. So right now it looks like that small first batch of votes came in from Monroe County and just a few from Washington County. So we're seeing some of these smaller counties. Like I said, they're going to be counting every last vote, of course, but what we're going to be looking to see as far as how this race shakes out are in these two top counties right now. So I'm just taking a look to see if we've got any more results for now. It looks like District 1 is still the same for the Republicans, I'm saying. District 2, it looks relatively the same. We got a few more votes in, but that spread is still similar to what it was before, with Rhett Marcus in a lead with Hampton Harris and then David Matthews in 2nd and 3rd respectively. District 6 all looks the same. Okay, now we're going to go to the one Democratic primary, and just a few votes just came in just now. It's actually updating by the moment. So I'll just go with the numbers that I have in front of me right now. So we're talking about District 6 again. This is the only district that has a special primary today where there is a contested Democratic primary, I should say. And that's because in District 1, we have Clyde Jones Jr., who was running unopposed, so he's already advanced to the November general election. District 2 and District 7, which are our current Democratic representatives, Shamari Figures and Terry Sewell, respectively. So in District 6, we have 4 Democrats who are trying to face off with either Palmer or Dixon, depending on who wins that primary. So we have Ashton Kennedy, Maurice Mercer, Jacob Bauma Sims, and Keith Pilkington. So right now, Ashton Kennedy has a very slight lead, and again, that asterisk, there's less than 1% of votes in. But right now, she does have the lead, so this is definitely something we'll be looking out for. Let's see, we've got some more votes in. Okay, it looks like in District 6, we're starting to get some votes from Chilton County. So I'll start off with the Democratic primary. It looks like Ashton Kennedy is getting a good start to Bibb County. She has gotten 66 votes, and Maurice Mercer is 28. Very small numbers, I know, but it does show that we are starting to get some variety in where these votes are coming in from. So going back to the Republicans, it looks like Gary Palmer is taking a pretty good lead with more than 88% of the votes in both Bibb County and Chilton County so far. That race has now gotten to 1% of the votes counted. Of course, all of this is very early on, but like I said, with these, sometimes there are no votes and then all of a sudden there are a ton of votes. And so just to tell you a little bit more about District 7 while I wait to see if there are any more updates before we end this live stream for now. It looks like in District 7, Amy Aiken, we've got a former educator and a retired pastor. Both of them are trying to take control of District 7. Just for a general overall picture while we're waiting for some more of these votes to come in. Right now we have a 5-2 split in the House of Representatives on behalf of Alabama. Like I said, we've got Representatives Shamari Figures and Terry Sewell. Going through the special session and hearing from Republicans, they really feel that District 2 is in play, but there were some who were saying that they feel that all of these districts are in play for Republicans. Of course, the 2 that they would be looking to flip are 2 and 7. Terry Sewell, having held her seat since before the map change and the court-drawn map and all of that, she has held this for a lot longer than that had been going on. So this could be a more reliably Democratic district in November, so this is one that she's definitely going to want to continue to represent. But this is definitely one that Republicans feel confident that they could pick up, especially under this map, because it is different from the one in 2024. That's when Shamari Figures was able to win, and that's when it started across western Alabama and continued through the river region. So it's really going to be a test for Democrats. Can they preserve this 5-2 split? Can they hold on to this second seat? This is definitely something that if Republicans can pick it up, it would definitely be the product of a lot of efforts earlier in the year to get this map in place instead of the one that was used in 2024, which was the court-drawn map. So taking a look, we just got a boost of votes in Alabama District 2. We've got Rhett Marcus, okay, still in the lead. It now appears that there's about 5% of votes cast. Okay. So we just got a ton of votes. We got 25% of the votes down in Houston County. That's one of the more populous counties that we were looking at. Rhett Marcus doing very well. They're getting 62% of the votes. It appears that David Matthews is in second in that county. Just about 18% of the votes for David Matthews. Hampton Harris about 10% of the votes here in Houston County. So this is one of the more populous ones that we're going to be looking at. It appears that we're getting a trickling in of votes from Russell County over here in the eastern part of the state, from Crenshaw County right in the river region, from Coffee County. That will also be a pretty sizable amount of votes for this district. And okay, now we're up to 11% of votes here in Montgomery County. That appears to be the largest district that the Associated Press says the votes are coming in from for the 2nd Congressional District. So, oh, and we got another batch of votes. Let me see if it changed anything as far as what we just talked about. Does not look like it has changed anything, so we're still seeing kind of the same spread. Overall, even though David Matthews is doing better in Houston County overall, we still see Rhett Marcus and then Hampton Harris and then David Matthews, and then there are the other 3 candidates as well who are collectively making up about 10%. So that's Joshua McKee, James Richardson, and Christian Horn. So that's what we're seeing right now in District 2. District 6. Yeah, Gary Palmer is still at his substantial lead. No new votes cast in that. And same thing with District 7. So for now, I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm sure that we will have more votes at 8:15, so we'll come back and see if we're any closer to seeing any of these races fully called. But for now, we're going to end this live stream and we're going to watch some more of these votes roll in.